Good afternoon, Sir Pabustan. I am John Eric Paul B. Hortado from BSAMT2A, and I am here to discuss about the induction system of a reciprocating engine. So, what is reciprocating engine and induction system? The reciprocating engine is an engine in which one or more piston moves up and down, and the induction system, it brings in air from the outside, mixes it with fuel, and delivers the fuel and air mixtures to the cylinder where combustion occurs. Outside, the air enters to the induction system through the intake port on the front of the engine cowling. This port normally contains an air filter that inhibits the entry of air dust and other foreign objects. Since the filter may occasionally become clogged, an alternate source of air must be available. Usually, the alternate air comes from the inside of the engine cowling, where it bypasses a clogged air filter. So, there are two types of induction system are commonly used in the small aircraft. The first one is the carburetor system mixes with the fuel and air in the carburetor before these mixtures enter the intake manifold, while the other one is the fuel injection system mixes the fuel and air immediately before entry into each cylinder or injects fuel directly into each cylinder. The basic induction system of an aircraft reciprocating engine consists of an air scoop. So what is air scoop? Air scoops is used to collect an air inlet and air duct that transfers the air to the inlet filter. The air filter is generally housed in the carburetor heat box or the other housing close by that is attached to the carburetor or fuel injection controller. So what is air filter? Air filter is to prevent dirt and other foreign matters from entering the engine. Filtered air enters the fuel metering device, which is carburetor or fuel injector, where the throttle plate controls the amount of air flowing to the engine. So let me show you a diagram of induction system. This is an example of non-supercharged induction system using carburetor, and their part is air filter, carburetor air valve, carburetor, temperature bulb, drain line, cold air actuator lever, and air intake duct. So what does air filter do? Air filter is to prevent dirt and other matters from entering the engine. The carburetor air valves is where it selects alternate warm air to prevent carburetor icing. Cold air actuator lever, it supplies a cold air to the carburetor. Drain line is where the moisture comes down. Then the temperature valve, it measures the temperature from the carburetor. And the carburetor is the device where it mixes fuel and air. So in this diagram, the carburetor normal flow air is admitted at the lower front nose of cowling below the propeller spinner, and is passed through an air filter into air ducts leading to the carburetor. A carburetor heat air valve is located below the carburetor for selecting an alternate warm air source to prevent carburetor icing. carburetor icing occurs when the temperature is lowered in the throat of the carburetor and enough moisture is present to freeze and block the flow of the air to the engine. The carburetor heat valve admits air from the outside air scoop for normal operation, and it admits air scoop for compartment for operation during icing condition. When the carburetor heat air door is closed, warm ducted air from around the exhaust is directed into the carburetor. This alternate air door can be opened by engine suction if normal route of airflow should be blocked by something. The carburetor air filter is installed in the air scoop in front of the carburetor air duct. Its purpose is to stop dust and other foreign matter from entering the engine through the carburetor. The screen consists of an aluminum alloy and deeply crimped screen, arranged to present maximum screen area to the airstream. The carburetor air ducts consists of fixed ducts riveted to the nose cowling and a flexible duct between the fixed duct and the carburetor air valve housing. The carburetor air ducts normally provide a passage for outside air to carburetor. The air enters the system through the ram air intake. The intake through the ram air opening is located in the slipstream, so the air is forced into the induction system, giving an ram effect to the incoming airflow. So, induction system can consist of several different arrangements. Two that are used are the updraft and the downdraft induction system. An updraft induction system consists of two runners and a balance tube with intake pipes for each cylinder to induction air to each cylinder intake ports. This balance tube used to reduce pressure imbalances between the two side induction runners with carbureted engines. It is important to maintain a constant and even pressure in the induction system so that each cylinders receive equal amount of fuel. On fuel-injected engines, the fuel is injected at the intake port just before the intake valve. It is important with the system to keep pressure consistent at intake port. While the downdraft balance induction system provide optimum airflow to each of the individual cylinder throughout a wide operational range. So this is the downdraft induction system. And the throttle body, this is the throttle body, intake manifold tube, hose, intake gasket, induction manifold assembly, and intake manifold tube. So, what is throttle body? Throttle body is used to control the amount of air entering the engine. The intake gasket seals to intake the manifold to the engine. The intake manifold tube is where it comes the fuel and air mixtures that supplies to each for internal combustion. And the hose is to secure the intake system to remain airtight. Then, air from the induction manifold flow into intake ports where it is mixed with the fuel from the nozzle and then enters the cylinder as a combustible mixtures as intake valve open. Thank you, sir. That's all.